agreement to establish an LNG project in Ajaokuta, Kogi State, aimed at expanding CNG infrastructure. Nigerian Navy records successes with a series of raids across Niger Delta, targeting crude oil theft and illegal refining activities. Federal government advocates restructuring of entrepreneurial scheme to create more job opportunities.
How do we cater for this youth? How do we give them opportunity?
Hello and thanks for joining us on the News Desk 3 on NTA News 24. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Vivian Izadifi. Governor Seyi Makinde installed the 46th Alaafin of Oyo by Engineer Abimbola Akeem Owade Elewu-Etu I with pomp and pageantry in the ancient town of Oyo. We'll bring you the reports in our subsequent bulletin. The presidential initiative of compressed natural gas has taken a 25% stake in LNG, a mini LNG plant in Ajaokuta, Kogi State. Director and Chief Executive of PCNG, Michael Oluwabemi, is optimistic that the strategic partnership underscores Nigeria's commitment to harnessing its gas resources for national development. Lydia Sampson reports.
This art of putting pen to paper seals a partnership which aims to bolster CNG supply to the far north and other underserved communities. Both partners acknowledge that the investment aligns with President Bola Tinubu and the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative's goal to promote gas as a cheaper, cleaner alternative energy source for transportation, enhancing energy accessibility and supporting economic growth in remote regions.
To transform that liquefied natural gas to compressed natural gas that can be utilized by our power plants as well as our vehicles and other industries. So this is about industrialization at first instance. The many industries across the north, from textile to agriculture to processing to manufacturing, will benefit hugely from this project.
Part of what we're doing is then saying, how do we take it from where it originates to where it needs to be used? So that gas can be used for mobility CNG, which is cleaner, cheaper gas. It can be used for industrialization, used for power, used to grow our economy generally.
With the partnership setting up a 7 million standard cubic feet per day mini LNG facility in Ajaokuta, it can supply the north with gas. It is also an avenue to invite investors to invest in setting up CNG infrastructure, which has been a major challenge in domestic gas supply and utilization in Nigeria, especially in the north. To this effect, optimism is high that this partnership will help unlock the midstream and downstream gas value chains. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy has released its Operation Delta Sanity 2 scorecard for March 2025, outlining multiple discoveries and seizures of illegal refinery sites, stolen crude oil, and illegally refined products. Notable seizures include a large wooden boat with 100,000 liters of crude oil in Ondo State and a seagoing vessel, MFT Olugun the 8th, with IMO registration number 87788275, with illegal arms and ammunition intercepted in Bayelsa State. The operation also discovered and deactivated several illegal refinery sites with significant quantities of stolen crude oil and illegally refined products. These discoveries were made in various locations, including Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa states. The Nigerian Navy also apprehended several suspects linked to crude oil theft and illegal arms possession. The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, reiterates the Nigerian Navy's commitment to intensifying its operations to support Nigerians' economic activities and improve crude oil production. Nigerian Navy will continue to strengthen civil-military relations through the implementation of its special intervention quick impact projects in various communities across Nigeria. Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, stated this in Eshenyi Okeogun area of Oyo State. Correspondent Oyeyinka Omole reports.
Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, who was represented, said the Nigerian Navy is committed to evolving innovative means of serving other socio-economic needs of Nigerians.
Not only do these projects resonate with the vision of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, they aptly reflect the essence of the quick impact projects as conceived by the Chief of the Naval Staff.
In its quest to provide succor to communities in need of intervention in areas of education, healthcare, and electricity, among other social amenities, the Nigerian Navy executed 7 unit water borehole for 7 communities in the Eshenyi Okeogun area of Oyo State.
We need water badly, so they have come to quench our thirst. And I pray that God will quench their thirst.
So for all of us in Nigeria, we should give back to our community. We should be selfless. We should do better.
And the sustainability plan is that each generator has been placed in charge of the local leader of the street. So from time to time, it will charge some tokens to buy diesel, to fix a broken pipe, and to run generator.
The Special Quick Impact Intervention Program of the Nigerian Navy was initiated in 2024 to honor accomplished senior officers to touch lives in communities at the grassroots. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has returned to Abuja following his one-day visit to Senegal, where he represented President Bola Tinubu at the 65th anniversary celebration of Senegal's independence. During his visit to Dakar, Vice President Shettima attended official independence anniversary ceremonies, including a grand parade at the Mamadou Dia Boulevard, presided over by President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. More advocacies are needed for African solutions to African problems and the need for more collaboration between the African Union, AU, and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Garba Natala reports that this was the submission of West African ambassadors who met in Abuja to discuss the African and global shift in governance, peace, and security in the West African region. Speakers highlighted key areas to focus on underlining issues driving instability across the entire African continent.
Consolidation of democracy and effective governance so that it can yield human security and peace dividends. This is very, very critical for all member states.
What we have been bringing forward is African solutions to African problems. And by that means we have to take ownership and make sure that we mobilize resources and provide the political will in order to address our challenges.
You raise one challenge, another one comes up. You cannot industrialize unless you have infrastructure, which is power, that is key.
We can no longer depend, whether on foreign assistance or foreign countries, to help us or to tell us exactly what to do.
Collaboration will reinforce the essential role of solidarity and partnership in achieving lasting peace and stability across the region.
More stable, prosperous and peaceful Africa, they agree that both AU and ECOWAS must remain coordinated and sustain effort by prioritizing economic integration, democracy, conflict prevention and regional security and inclusive development. Issues of tracking progress of international students and verification for National Youth Service will soon be a thing of the past, as the Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Olusheye Nafius, is collaborating with the Ministry of Education to ensure a seamless implementation of the process. Zenret Demond reports that while discussing critical reforms ongoing in the service with the Minister of Education, the DG said issues of online learners, mobilization, and appeals from non-accredited universities still constitute a challenge. The minister commended the new process of mobilizing candidates for the National Youth Service Corps, as he also advocates the restructuring and fortification of the entrepreneurial skill to give room for more job opportunities.
For their university, for higher education, so that by the time they are going, by the time they are leaving, the ministry holds a database. We help eliminate the issue of maybe fake certificates coming in.
We have a unique demography in the world, 220 million people, and guess what? 70% of those people are below the ages of 30 years. So we have the most youthful population in the world. So how do we cater for this youth? How do we give them opportunity? Doing the same thing that we did 30, 40 years ago will not cut it.
This development, both parties agreed, demonstrates the government's commitment to improving the NYSC program and addressing the challenges facing Nigeria's education sector as they pledge a stronger collaboration. The News Desk at 3 is reaching you on NTA News 24. More reports after the break. Stay with us.
Celebrate Ramadan with Bafi and enjoy up to 40% off on selected products from living room, dining room, bedroom, and royal sets. Pay less, save more, and refresh your home for iftar gatherings and cherished moments with family and friends. Visit our showrooms in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu, or shop online to enjoy our exclusive Ramadan sale. Let's make this Ramadan unforgettable.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, one person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, one person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. please visit the nearest government hospital or primary healthcare center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Welcome back. I will now take you to Oyo State, where our correspondent is standing by to take us through the activity leading up to the coronation of the 46th Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Akeem Owade. KG Busari, if you can hear me.
Yes, thank you very much. Today, of course, is a special day for the people of Oyo Kingdom, and of course the Oyo race generally, because about over 54 years ago, specifically on the 17th of November 1970, the late Oba Adeyemi Alaafin of Oyo Atanda, the 45th Alaafin, was installed. It may not be in this vicinity, but he was installed this day. Today, after so many years, almost 54 years, another Alaafin, Oba Engineer Hakeem Owade, is today the new Alaafin of Oyo, being installed today by Governor Seyi Makinde. Of course, it's a very rowdy one. People are so many here. And I did talk about the 18th of November 1970, and I want to just say here that yours truly was there, but as a toddler. But today, reporting for the Nigerian Television Authority, KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
Okay, thank you. That was our correspondent there, KG Busari in Oyo, for the coronation of the Alaafin. Thank you. Moving on now to other matters, as part of commitment by Savicom to ensure customers and other service off-takers receive satisfactory services, the agency has put together a sensitization workshop in Abuja to equip service providers with requisite skills of handling feedbacks and complaints from customers. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The experiences being shared here are more of complaints of diverse nature coming from service off-takers of different ministries, departments and agencies of government. Explanations are also being provided on how service providers could handle such situations and ensure that feedback is collected from customers, especially when their complaints have been addressed.
Because it will build trust between the service provider and the MDAs. And it will also assist the MDAs for them to know where there are challenges and where they need to beam their searchlight, and also ensure that all citizens are served in a timely, fair and transparent manner.
Those we serve are stakeholders. They have the right to complain. And so this is working to ensure that we manage their complaints, sometimes commendations, effectively.
The essence of all of these, Savicom says, is to crown the customer king.
Even when a customer comes with grievances, with anger, the way we patiently treat that customer will help us to deliver service.
The best thing is to handle them with care and know that one day we may be in their shoes.
It was also an opportunity for Savicom to present the e-feedback portal, the service charter, and launch the grievance redress mechanism and frequently asked questions booklets for appropriate guide for service providers and service off-takers. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
South Zonal Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, George Tona, has clarified that the proposed April 12, 2025 Solidarity Rally in Bayelsa State is an opportunity to thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for appointing several Bayelsa natives into key government roles. Tona, at a media briefing in Abuja, disclosed that the gathering is being hosted by a group called New Associates and is meant to launch the Bayelsa State chapter of the group in support of President Bola Tinubu and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike for putting the country on the right trajectory.
Particularly in appointing our sons and daughters into positions of trust. Of course, you know very recently the head of service was appointed. And now a number of these appointments are facilitated by a friend of Bayelsa and a friend of the job people, which is Minister Nyesom Wike. So while thanking Mr. President, we also say thank you, Wike, for recommending and trusting that this class of persons can contribute in helping Mr. President deliver on his mandate.
He emphasized that no plans had been made to invite the minister to the rally. Let's take a quick look at our major stories. Federal government signs $27.3 million agreement to establish LNG projects in Ajokuta, Kogi State, aimed at expanding CNG infrastructure. Nigerian Navy records successes with a series of raids across Niger Delta, targeting crude oil theft and illegal refining activities. Federal government advocates restructuring of entrepreneurial scheme to create more job opportunities.
How do we cater for this youth? How do we give them opportunity?
A Russian missile attack Kryvyi Ukraine has left at least 18 people dead, including 9 children and many other injured, according to local officials. The strike, which hit a residential area, caused significant destruction, and images showed damage to playgrounds and buildings. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky condemned the attack, calling it an act of terror against civilians. The local community is in shock as rescue efforts continue to find survivors amid the rubble. Russia's defense ministry claimed the missile strike targeted military commanders and Western instructors at a restaurant, alleging up to 85 fatalities, but provided for no evidence for this assertion. International leaders are calling for an immediate investigation and expressing solidarity with Ukraine during this crisis as violence continues and both sides blame each other for targeting civilians. And that concludes the News Desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Vivian Izadife. Bye for now.